So, in the previous episode of the Rings of Power, we got to see Galadriel versus four Numenorian trained guards, and she basically just pushed them into a cell and locked the gate. But in this latest episode, she actually fights five what I like to call Numenorian trainees. So, she's going to educate the trainees on how to actually fight the orcs in Middle Earth. And she gives one critical piece of advice, which she has learned over hundreds and hundreds of years of fighting orcs: stab, twist, cut. That is the advice she gives to the Numenorians. Never mind to tell them how orcs think, or that orcs like to attack you from behind, or orcs will attack you in groups. No, she gives the most basic advice that can basically be applied to any living creature. She gives the Numenorians a chance to test and see if the Numenorians can actually hold their own against her. And the commander tells them that whoever nicks or maybe hurts Galadriel will be promoted to lieutenant. And I think I think some of the hairstyles also present, like I've never seen a dude rocking a Karen hairstyle before. And there are a couple other hairstyles which I think is pretty funny. But yeah, let's move on from it. So Valandil decides he's going to try his luck against the elf. He takes his proper Numenorian stance. I'm not going to argue with it, but I've never seen a stance like that. And you can see she's not even bothered by it. The least, she's not going to waste energy and take any stance. She's just going to stand there. And before the fight even begins, we all know how it's going to go. They're not going to make her look weak at all. We're going to see a proper fight where she kicks everybody's ass, and that's not going to be it. So he stabs and she resets. He stabs and she resets. He slices and she resets. I was laughing at this so hard because it's so cringe. Like, really? Why do you need to do it? But basically, you also have Big Bang Theory over here. So Valandil is getting a bit frustrated, but instead of changing his fighting technique, he does the same thing over. He stabs, slices again, and I don't know what's with the scene going behind the pillar because, yeah, this is what we want to see. We want to see from behind pillars like we are hiding as well. So it continues, and she has him. And his friends are just basically laughing at him. So he knocks away her sword. He takes aim. She's not even looking at him anymore. He slices, but instead of slicing like over here, he slices way up there. And he's going full force, like he's trying to kill her. I've never seen people train with actual swords, but it's a fantasy world, so I will not argue with it. And she has him. So now and then they pause the little fight scene to have her give a little bit of her opinion. And she gives the little story about it's not about fighting with your arms, it's about fighting with your feet. So I don't know how you're not going to fight with your arms, but it's a fantasy story, so let's go with it. So while she has him cornered, his friend at the back decides now's the time to strike. And he just stabs, never mind his friend. So now they've made it 1 against 2. So of course she also has her hand behind her back because she needs to hold back. So they are fighting. She gives him a little bump. He's out of the way. This guy slices full force again at her head, but she can fight against him. And he counters, and his friend comes from the side and goes full force down on both of them. Never mind that he could actually hit his friend. Somehow they both jump out of the way in the nick of time. She fights him, grabs his sword out of his hand, and she has him. Now, listen to what I'm telling you. This guy is going to be one of the first soldiers to die against an orc He's going to be the first one. So we've seen a fight 1-against-1. We've seen a fight 1-against-2. But of course the writers thought it's not enough. We need to have a fighting against 5 Numenorians. So I'm going to go through this frame by frame just to show you everything that's happening. But they all attack her at once. She throws the one Lady Numenorian away. She blocks the attack from Galadriel. And somehow she traps his sword with a piece of string. And he's shocked by it. She goes for the cups on the table and she knocks it with full force. And somehow the cups knock the one Numenorian full force against the wall. The other Numenorian decides, I'm going to take a stab because I'm in a close space, so why not? She glides his blade away, and yet again she just pushes him against a poor bystander in the corner. So at this point, the one soldier is just incapacitated still. The other guy is just standing in the corner, like watching. The Lady Numenorian decides, I'm going to take a full swing at Galadriel. And Galadriel decides, I'm going to go from the back. So the Lady Numenorian takes a swing, but you can already see the swing is not going to go where it's supposed to go. Like it's supposed to be guided away by Galadriel. She guides the sword away, of course. Galadriel swings a sword for no reason at the back. The other soldier attacks. Of course, he misses. And she has 2 soldiers cornered. You can see he's so surprised by this. And again, she tells him, don't plant your roots. Little piece of advice. And when she does this, like everybody just stops. And I don't know what he's looking at, but his eyes are not on her. So she gives the little soldier a tap on the butt. And I think this is one of the funniest parts I've seen. Is just keep an eye on the lady. You see she does a little forward jump and jumps back. You can see Galadriel is holding his head because the pots and pans fell on his head. And now everybody is coming, rushing towards the fight because everybody wants to see what's happening. And of course we need to have an epic scene where she blocks 3 attacks, 3 swords simultaneously. She does a little spin and she throws the same guy that's been thrown against the wall for the 2nd time. He's... Look at the face. They all stand behind the pillars, so rather than fighting in the open, they want to fight behind the pillars, where you're not really going to have an advantage. She blocks the attack from Galadriel. The lady and the other guy go for her simultaneously. She blocks the attack, and you have the other soldier in the corner. I don't know what's happening with him. He's just standing there, and he's looking for some reason in this direction. So she spins again, she throws them. Galadriel comes in again. She misses him, but for some reason he falls down. She spins back. She blocks the attack from the other lady. She slices down. Now keep in mind there are 2 soldiers over here and 1 soldier behind Galadriel. She slices the net. The net falls on the 2 soldiers, and check this guy out. He is far away, but for some reason he gets it. And he stumbles, and it seems like he falls down. And the other 2 are trapped by a tiny little piece of net. So she knocks them both away again. Galadriel decides, now's my chance. He attacks, and she blocks it. And he cuts her dress. Or you can call it a little nick, but there's no blood. Of course there's going to be no blood, because she's the hero of the story. So she tells him, don't use brute force. And what does he do? He does the exact same move all over again. You can, you can see this guy in the corner. He does the exact same move. He stabs with brute force again, and she just throws him to the side. And now the 2 soldiers that were hiding behind the pillars because they were so-called incapacitated, they are there to catch him. She throws away his sword, and that's the scene. So at the very end, she tells Galadriel that he can be the left lieutenant. I don't think it was a fair fight. I don't think he really has proven his skill because it's 5 against 1. Eventually, somebody's going to get a hit in. But this entire fight was just made to make Galadriel look good, to show her skill with the blade. I want to see her fighting orcs, then I will believe she is as good as they say she is. But this is only my opinion on the story. So if you are enjoying it, if you have any comments on it or anything that I might have missed, you are more than welcome to write it down below. And have a good one.